Hello everybody. We're going to deal with Elizabethan playhouses and with the way in which Elizabethan playhouses and their layout, the way they were built, affected the way in which Elizabethan plays were written and performed. First of all, can you imagine a theatre with no curtain, no roof, no scenery at all? A theatre where no woman could act, where actors performed surrounded by the public on three sides, completely different from what we do nowadays, from modern theatre, where the public is separated from the stage, where the actors can have a look on their public from a distance without having a direct contact with them. Well, that's exactly what Elizabethan theatres were like. But first of all, let's try to understand why Elizabethan drama, as we said also in class, was the best of the Elizabethan art, the main of the Elizabethan art. Why drama? But it has to do with the way in which Elizabethan dealt with reality. First of all, drama was the best way to represent the wide range of interests that was contained, that represented Elizabethan culture. Then, the Elizabethan period was characterized by a great vitality of language. Language was widely used, a lot of new words were created, and this great vitality could easily be mirrored, represented, hosted in plays and in drama. The public of Elizabethan drama was made up of different social classes. What does it mean? Simply that a play, the performance of a play was attended by people belonging to different social classes, having different education. So imagine that the play could be seen by the queen herself and by the beggar that used to beg just outside the playhouse. The people of the time were more trained at listening rather than reading. This is another reason why drama, of course, appeals much more to their interest. And this kind of public liked communal forms of entertainment. They liked to be entertained all together in groups, in a social situation. And drama answers this kind of need. So that's why drama was the main of the Elizabethan art. And this is what the Elizabethan theatre looks like. As we said, completely different from modern theatres. There's this strange stage, it hasn't got any roof, and there is this large space just in front of the stage. So let's have a look more in detail at the way in which these Elizabethan stages and theatres were built. Okay, so the Elizabethan theatre, what was its shape? It was octagonal or circular in shape, and as you've seen just in the picture before, there was no roof in the middle. While in the center there was a yard with peaks, where the poor spectators stood. These poor spectators were called groundlings, because they had to stand on the ground and they couldn't sit down. They didn't have any bench or chair. They couldn't afford to pay for chairs or benches or much more comfortable seats. Around these seats there were 3 tiers of roofed galleries, and these roofed galleries were for wealthier spectators, for the spectators who could pay much more to watch the play, and they could sit on wooden benches and under a roof, which in case of rain was like an interesting fact. The stage, that seems so different from modern stages, was called apron stage. The name comes from the fact that it is similar to an apron. So if you don't know what an apron is, well, it's something I'm going to ask you tomorrow morning. And this apron stage projected into the yard. The players, because of the shape of the stage, because the stage had the shape of an apron, were surrounded on 3 sides by the public. As we said at the beginning, it created a close relationship between actors and the characters they were performing, representing, and the public. The stage had also a backstage and an upper stage, which were usually concealed by a curtain. They were part of the stage used to represent some particular scene. If we consider Romeo and Juliet, whose plot you already know, the backstage was used to represent Juliet's tomb, while the upper stage was used to represent the balcony, the famous balcony scene. And then the last element is that there was no scenery and no artificial light. So, how was it possible to understand if it was night or day, which was the place where the action was going on? Let's have a look. What we're going to analyze now is the way in which Elizabethan playhouses and their structure, their layout, affected Elizabethan plays, the way in which Elizabethan plays were written. So, as the actors didn't have any artificial light, they had to play in the daylight, and they came forward on the apron stage into the midst of the audience. The communication in this way was direct and intimate, and the language, which is linked to communication, as you know, played a very important role. The soliloquy, do you remember what a soliloquy is? Soliloquy is the speech actor by the character who is alone on the stage. The soliloquy was the best way to explain the character's thoughts and feelings to the public. There were no props on the scene, and so, as we were asking before, how was it possible to understand what time of the day or of the year it was, or the location where the scene was taking place? Well, everything was suggested just by mentioning them in the dialogue. That's why we said the language is so important. The actions, as there was no curtain, were continuous, and the scene ended when all the actors left the scene and the other set of characters came on. And, well, sadly enough, women could not act, and so female roles were played by boys. Strange enough, isn't it? Okay, and this last picture shows you a typical Elizabethan playhouse. It is not in London, it is not in Copenhagen, it is in Rome. It is built in Rome, it is really faithful to its original, and well, my promise is that We'll go and see one of Shakespeare's